Okay, hello everyone. Hello, and welcome back to the Self Achievement Network. My name is Dominic. I'm the host, the founder, and I am here with our next person behind the passion. This is Tag Saab. She is originally from Lebanon, and right now she is in Qatar. Hello, Tag. How are you?
Hi, Domenic. I'm fine. I'm perfect.
Perfect. I love that answer. That's a great answer.
Yep, I'm all perfect.
It's
Anyway,
really true. I mean, I think about this a lot. And it's like I was even talking to one of my children the other day. It's like there's nothing wrong with us. Nothing. It's so wonderful.
yeah.
So thank you for joining me and thank you for being our next person behind the passion. Let me put that up on the screen for those of you who are watching. Um, what I do here in the Self Achievement Network is I give people the opportunity to tell their story about what they're passionate about. And Tag has a passion for positivity and gratitude. We kind of like condensed it down to like what is the real like you know the root of what she's into, and we're going to hear her story about how she got into it, her journey, where she's at now, where she's going. We've got about 30 minutes. So Tag, how did you arrive at this passion for positivity and gratitude? What give me the short version.
I'll give you the short version. So many years ago, I had a depression, and the only thing that helped me, I'm gonna be so brief, was being appreciative. Was actually practicing daily gratitudes. It did miracles to me when no one else could help me, and nothing. Just practicing daily gratitude changed my life completely. And now I use it like I cannot stop being grateful, like all the time. I was so happy with it. I was so not even passionate. I was so addicted to it that I wanted to do something where I can help people just become, if you want, as empowered as I was or as I became by using gratitude. So I was lucky enough to find out that there's something called positive psychology. So I enrolled in that. I did my master's in positive psychology in UK. And then my master's was on gratitude. So, and I found out like there are so many people who actually use gratitude as I do. And there are so many scientific evidence and researches that actually prove that being grateful can change your life.
Hmm.
Uh,
It's really
we're
interesting.
emotionally and physically.
Yeah. I mean, so you got a master's degree in gratitude?
In positive psychology, but my thesis was on
Oh,
gratitude.
okay, I got it now. So positive psychology. I mean, I
Yeah.
think about people going to the university, to study science or some craft, something like this. But positive psychology, where is this school at?
It's in UK, but there's actually you have in the States also, and Martin Seligman is like he's the father of positive psychology. He's American.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
See, I've never heard of that. That's
yeah.
great. So you were in your teens, or you were younger, or in your 20s that you.
It was very long ago, but because my life changed a lot, I think of it as long ago. It was what's this year? It was 12 years ago only, but
Wow.
for a lifetime because I was a different person.
Hmm. So what were some of the things that were on in your life that you were, I don't know, that were not.
There are so many, coming from Lebanon, if you know about Lebanon and how life is there, doesn't make things easy. And life, it's life, things happen. But the good thing is that whenever you fall, now I have the best tool to keep on standing and walking and running even. So
Hmm.
things happen for a reason.
Hmm. So how did you find out about this school of positive psychology? How did you find out about
Well, I think I was extremely lucky because I'm a kind of person who keeps asking. So I like if I want something, I just keep asking. So I was asking someone because I never knew it existed. Like I didn't know that this kind of science even exists. So I kept on asking, like, I want to study something that's related to psychology where I can help people, but not the psychology, the common one. I'm not going to call it something else. So I kept on asking and asking and asking until some day I met someone who knows someone who studied something that's called positive psychology. That's it.
So as soon as you heard that, you were like,
By the
there you
way,
go.
it took me years, not just like weeks. It took me years.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. So now what do you do with your degree? I mean, how are you helping people? What is it? You have a practice, or you have you do workshops? I mean, coaching?
No, I do consultations because in addition to positive psychology, I've studied so many different things in order to be able to help people in counseling them. But the main thing that I use, the main tools are the tools of positive psychology. I use other tools, but I'm not going to talk about it now. So I usually work with people like one-on-one. I work with groups and workshops, and I also work with parents, children, and also work with couples. You
Oh,
wouldn't imagine how, when you change your thinking and you try to think in a positive way, everything changes, even your relationship, like with everyone at work, with your partner, with your children, everything changes.
hmm. And do you do this locally there in Qatar, or you do this through the internet, online, all over the
Both,
world?
both. I do it online for uh, for mostly with my clients in Lebanon or in
Hmm.
some other countries because I work in Arab with Arab speakers,
Hmm.
mostly with Arabic speakers. And here, yes, of course, I do it locally in person.
Yeah, interesting. Wow, that's great. So where do you see yourself going with this in the next few years? Or where would you
Well,
like it to go?
we'll
How
keep
how
doing
are you how are you steering your future?
you know, I learned just to enjoy the moment. So I'm happy with what I'm doing now. I will wait for tomorrow and see what happens tomorrow, and I'm gonna enjoy it, and I'm gonna appreciate it, and I'm gonna do the same thing the day after, and the day after, and the day after. So it's more of being excited to do more and give more and help more than planning what to do.
Hmm. I like that.
Enjoying the journey. If you enjoy the journey, you wouldn't keep on like waiting till the end because you're enjoying it.
Yeah. And I agree with that. I think that it's really a good idea to like kind of like riding the wave, letting
Mhm.
life, as long as I'm enjoying my moments, that the wave always takes me in the right direction.
True.
It's true. And I mean, when we talked offline before, I mean, I am a planner, so I do this kind of stuff with
Yeah.
my clients, which looks real complicated, but actually it's not. But some people need a little bit of structure, and so this is the way that I learn, and this is the way that I teach people how to put their goals together like that. It's really very, very simple. So okay, so right now you're in Qatar, you're married, as I understand it. You have no children right now. So let's go back to Lebanon, childhood. What was it like for you? Because this is called person behind the passion, right? So your passion is about positivity and gratitude. So who is that person behind the passion? And you grew up in Lebanon. What was that like? You were born somewhere there, and then what happened after that?
What happened? I was born into a war zone because there was war. Okay. And if you know, like war has been there since
Yeah,
forever. We stopped counting. So when you are born in a country that's, I wouldn't say it's not safe because it's much, much safer than many other countries that had never had a war. So it actually was safe. Now it's a bit less, but it was safe. And it's still, again, much safer than other countries. But when you don't know if there's tomorrow, like you, you literally don't know if there's a tomorrow because
right.
tomorrow you might wake up and everyone's in family is gone or um, something happened. Like I lost a friend when I was at school. Um, we used to, there was bombing all the time. We used to have to sleep in the bomb shelter a lot of the time. So it's not a place where you can actually plan. You cannot plan. You cannot say, oh, next week we're going to go on a picnic. You cannot, because something might happen and it wouldn't be safe for you to go. So
Hmm.
it's a, like literally a war zone. So yeah, that's how it was as a child. Later it was better, uh, relatively better, but there was no security, different kind of security. Like you don't know if you're gonna be able to graduate school or if you're gonna get a job or something because of the financial issues and the political issues. So you were always tense, you were always alert, you were always not sure what's gonna happen because you cannot control what's happening. It's way bigger than you. Like what happened that 2 years ago in the world. So
Hmm.
all our life. That's why it was a bit less traumatizing for us than other countries because we're used to this. We're used
Hmm.
to like things stop, life cease for a second or for a day or for a week, you know?
Hmm.
So yeah, this makes you strong. It does. However, it's exhausting. So it is, it's and draining. Um, so yeah, that's what life is like. And anyone who lives in a war zone or is living in a war zone would understand what I'm talking about.
Hmm.
And
Wow.
those who are privileged enough not to have witnessed that, I would just say, just appreciate what you have. You are lucky.
And I think that that's a big issue. I mean, at my age, I'm 64, so I mean, I can remember there was a period in my life, mostly when I was younger, um, that I didn't even think about appreciating things because everything was pretty much given to me, and we
Mhm.
didn't have war, and we had some racial stuff on the streets a little bit, but it was never like being in a war zone. I mean, I remember this the war in Lebanon and seeing it on the news and all the stuff going on, and still some of the stuff that we see today, we're not touched by that here to to any extent, really. So what I see is that there are a lot of people that, I shouldn't say a lot, but there's people that don't appreciate the simple things that they have. Like, for example, running water in a war zone, water goes away.
True.
Take a shower? What? There's a
Our
bucket.
fuel and bread and food. Yeah, yeah, all of that.
Yeah.
And through this when you're very young and you see like your parents struggling just to make sure you're safe and make sure you're fed. And it's like, why do they have to suffer like this? Why wouldn't they have like a normal life? And
Yes.
then your whole country is suffering, and it's even harder because we are a very small country, so we like know each other. Not all of us,
Mhm.
of course. I mean, you know what's happening in the next town or the next city because it's a very small country. So you think like it's unfair and why is this happening? But then you learn to just appreciate the lesson. Like there's a lesson for us,
Mhm.
some reason, and we
Mhm.
just, of course, as
Yeah.
a child, I think like that. That's how I think now. But as a child, you are just always scared. You are just afraid. You are just in constant fear. That's it.
That's a feeling I think that I didn't know until I told you I was in Cairo. So I
Mhm.
was working and living there for about 5 years. And I was there during the revolution, the first the first several weeks of the revolution. And I got a taste of that feeling of fear that I'd never experienced before. When I was in an apartment, and of course, when they had the uprising, I think the thought process was that I'm an American that the Arab world doesn't like, so they're going to come and take me out of my apartment and drag me down the street on a bumper of a car. And that may not have been true at all. However, it was the thoughts that I was creating in my brain, and that fear was in I mean, I can't even describe it. There's something that can only say when you experience it, you'll know what that feels like. And I can imagine that as a child experiencing hearing bombs or hearing gunfire, and that like, I mean, I know you can describe the feeling, but what was it like for you to hear that kind of
Well,
stuff?
actually, if I remember, as a child, for us, we thought this is normal life. We thought like that's how people live.
Amazing.
Yeah. So when like kind of the war ended, it didn't really end, but like when the bombing stopped, we were like, what? So like we're gonna wake up tomorrow and we're not running or hiding? That was so weird. So weird. So as a child, when you're born into this, it's different. I know for our parents it was much harder, but for us it was like this is life,
This is the
you know?
normal.
Yeah, this is the normal.
Let's go out today and watch bombs fall.
We used to try to guess from the sound of it, like what type of bomb is it, and we would like make a competition, like who's gonna guess. And I'm talking about very young children. Like I still
Right?
remember scenes I've seen. I was 3 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's not like we're not talking about teenagers. We're talking about babies, children, you know. So yeah, but it's happened. It's done.
Hmm. So I'm going to refresh my camera. It's looking blurry. But anyway, so, okay, so this is when you were a child. So then the bombs stopped when you were about how old?
Well, it didn't really stop. Like it's gonna be long talk if we're gonna talk about the word, because we had several words. So something stopped, something started, something stopped, something started. But the like even when it stopped in 2006, there was also a big war. If I can call it a war, I don't know what to call it. What happened? But it's gonna get political if we go into that kind of talk. So I'm gonna be so brief in that. After the war ended, like the bombing thing, what started was the financial crisis, and that was actually what really was very destructive for everyone and traumatizing, because you could never imagine, like after what you've been through, you're gonna start suffering in a different way.
Hmm.
And but that was the hardest part. And that's why most Lebanese, once they graduate, they leave their country and look for work somewhere else. And
Hmm.
that's why family also is all around the world. Like every family has immigrants, like in some country, either in the US, Canada, Australia, and Europe, everywhere. Because
Hmm.
survive, you cannot survive back home.
Yeah.
There are enough jobs for everyone, even if things are fine. So imagine when things are really bad. So
Hmm.
that's it. And that's what brought me here. And I love it here because actually it's very close. It's also an Arab country. It's also small, like Lebanon. So,
Hmm.
uh,
And yeah, I've only heard things about and saw pictures of Qatar. So I just want to say, like, okay, so in the spectrum, right? I always remember hearing from one of my teachers talking about, we can't really experience. No, we can't, but we can experience the good things in life because we've experienced the bad things in life, and the more that we like can like all the things that you went through, I think gave you this ability to appreciate and
they
to
build
want.
you, like
Huh?
they make you what you are. You
Yeah.
wouldn't appreciate things unless you really know what it means to be without these things, to live
Yeah,
without it. Otherwise,
exactly.
you would take things for granted.
It's taking a lot of things for granted. So the gratitude that you have is at such a high level because, oops, I got that backwards. But whatever, it's that you have experienced things on the opposite end of that. It's such a high level also. So
Well, I'll tell you a trick about gratitude. If you ever feel skeptic, like, why should I feel grateful for this thing that happened? You have to remember something like really bad and how you felt when that thing happened, compare the feeling, and then you will appreciate what you have now.
mhm,
So things really go bad in any way, I would just go to a memory from childhood. It's like, no, I'm in a much better place now.
Hmm. I agree with that. That's a really smart way to look at it. And so when you're coaching clients, people, you're having them look at
So,
these.
sorry, I don't coach because I don't
Okay.
believe that you should give instructions to people. My method is a bit different. Let's say when I share tools with the clients, or when I work with clients, um, I I actually try to help them change their mind, not change, adopt a new mindset or develop a positive mindset. You can't really change people, also, you know that.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, and this actually helps them to work to fix any other issue in their life. So even if they're coming for something that I work with couples, even if they're coming for like relationship issues, when they start to look at things positively, when you start looking at your partner and trying to focus on the positive things about your partner, or why you chose this person in the first place, what did you love about this person, things just change. It's like as if you just put some light on a dark spot, and it's bright out of a sudden.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So it's not coaching, it's like counseling. What's the word you use?
It's
Counseling.
counseling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you were talking about that, I was thinking about a time where my father and I got to spend some time together, and he actually attended one of the workshops that I was doing. And when he came out, he was resistant, of course. He didn't want to attend. But when he came out, he was a big golfer at the time after he retired. And he said that here's what I'm going to do, Dominic, differently. Every time that I go out golfing, instead of every time that I hit the ball, I'm like, oh, I hate that. This is a bad shot. I did it. He's gonna say two good things that he did with each swing, of the ball. And it was funny because about a month later, I was with him and his golfing friends, and they were joking with me, or like, what did you do to him? He's very positive now about everything, and his score went up a lot. So they were upset, not really, but they were pretending to be upset with me because their scores were still down here and his scores went up. So what you're
So
saying, I think, is really true. Yeah. Just
you
by
discover
looking.
gratitude, because when you start thinking positively about something, you will attract the good thing, because that's what you're focusing on. You're focusing on the good things, you will attract them. So it's something somimilar to what they say in the law of attraction, but in a different way, in a more scientific way. Yeah.
Hmm. Wow. Interesting story. And I think that I love that what you're doing, because in my younger years, had a lot of resistance to having people like want to help me. And they could look at me objectively and see that there were things about me and my life and my attitude, my behavior, that were not working great. And so I was very resistant to any type of feedback. And it wasn't until I realized on my own that I needed to make a change. And not only that I needed to make a change, that I needed to find someone that had the skill necessary to assist me to get through what I was getting through. I like had to let go of my ego. I had to let go of the resistance, all this stuff, and then I began to change, and the changes they happened very quickly. And before that, my life was moving like when I was in the dirt, in the muck, in the it just seemed like it lasted forever. And until I reached out to someone, that's when it like sped up and began to really take off. And I haven't looked back since. So I think what you're doing is so valuable to our society globally, locally, wherever. So thank you for doing that.
Well,
Doing what?
you're talking about resistance, and I'll have to highlight something important. there's a term we use that's called resistant client. So resistant client is someone who's like, I really want to fix this, I really want to change, but I can't. It's like they don't commit to things, they cannot change, they become a bit defensive, they adopt the victim mentality. The thing is, why some people can change fast and others can't, it's based on the traumas they have. So let's say you were resistant because you had so many traumas to deal with before you can start changing and looking at the brighter side. So we need also to remember that, to work on that first. Then we can be able to adopt a positive mindset, to become grateful, to practice anything that's good for us. If someone doesn't want to change, or just because they want to resist, they cannot. They feel like, I really want to do it, but I can't, you know? And there's also always this resistance, which most of the time connected to traumas at a younger age. I just wanted to highlight that because it's a very important subject.
And it's true. I mean, I had a lot of trauma. You know, my father was a disciplinarian, and he learned from his father. And it wasn't like sending me to my room or putting my nose in the corner. It was, you know, with the belt. You know, and so yeah, I mean, I had some of that trauma. I didn't think that it was that big of a deal because, you know, when I decided I wanted to make some changes, I was about 25, 26 years old, and all that happened to me when I was really young. So I was like, oh, I got over that. But what I didn't realize was that I was still underneath it all, still had a lot of resentment, you know, and I would kind of have bad thoughts about him. But what I realized, which was great, was that he did the best that he knew how. And it was like my unwillingness to forgive, but it had nothing to do with him. It was my resistance to forgiveness. And when I realized that, I was like, oh, he didn't have to do anything. I wanted him to change.
You just described a full process where we get the trauma, we're not able to get rid of it because we're not able to forgive the other person. And once we do, it's all cleared. And then we start going on the path of recovery, if we want to call it that.
Mhm.
So explained it in just a few words. That's the whole process.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Really interesting. Wow. So you're married. What does your husband do? Are we allowed to talk about him a little bit?
He's in construction, he's an engineer.
Engineer. Okay. He builds tall buildings.
Very tall buildings, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
We got to get him on.
Have a lot of tall buildings, yeah. Of course, not like in New York, but for us, they're tall enough.
Yeah. And so what is life like for you in Qatar? I heard it's beautiful.
Yeah, Qatar is a country that's like developing very fast. Like if you've been here 5 years ago and you come here now, you find like, wow, when did this all happen? Qatar is mostly a desert. However, they have now small hills with trees. So imagine that in a desert. Um, it's amazing. It's amazing. I mean, every time, because I have the hill is close to my house, to where I live. So every time I pass there, it's like, oh my God, a few years ago, this was sand. Now it's a hill with green trees.
Mhm.
Means actually you can change everything. If you make change a desert into a park and lake and small forest, you can do anything in the world. If you just believe this can happen, it can be done. And
Mhm.
they did change things. And we are actually looking forward to the event of the World Cup soon in a few days. It's like the most amazing. Looking for this country deserves to host such an event.
Yeah. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. I'll be watching on TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I so much appreciate you being with me today. I'm you're like so intriguing. I think we could talk for a long time. I want to welcome you. I want to welcome you back anytime. Um, anytime you
Sure.
want to share a story or we want to talk about a certain topic, please, just that link that you scheduled before, just click on the link and we'll do it again.
Dear, and if you want to join my gratitude challenge, which I'm
Yeah.
starting soon, follow my page. I'll send you the link.
Put it in the thread in this, when this posts, you can put it in there, the link there. And I have just one final question.
Yes, sure.
This is my favorite question. So just pretend that everybody on the planet is watching this right now.
Mhm.
So you have the undivided attention of humanity. That's pretty good, right?
Oh,
So what would you like to say to the people of planet Earth?
you are so lucky. Just enjoy the experience. Enjoy it.
Enjoy it. Enjoy. Enjoy. That's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
So no matter what happens, enjoy it, appreciate it, have lots of gratitude.
Yeah, sure.
Practicing gratitude. That's awesome. So awesome. Okay, we'll have you back. Thank you so much, Tag, for being with me. And for all of you, thank you so much for watching. And we will see you next time. Have a fabulous, fabulous day. Enjoy the moments, each little moment. And if it's not so fun,